how's that door go? That door always been there?
Jesus. Yeah, they always come out. They'll always pop out of there when you're in here having a discussion. It's great.
All right, now it's 7:30. All right, good evening. I will call to order the Hampton Township Council meeting for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. We will start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Blackburn?
Present.
Ms. Fritsch?
Present.
Mr. Midgley?
Present.
Mr. Sholey?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Speakman?
President.
All right, first item is citizens' agenda matters. If anyone has anything that they would like to address to council, please step up to the microphone and state your name, address, and your concern.
Hi, it's Maureen Law, 2617 Law Road. I didn't know we were going to ask questions or talk, so I just wanted to ask, when are we redoing that Saldo meeting, the extension
The
of
public
this,
hearing was continued until 2 weeks from tonight. So
Yeah.
I think that's the 22nd.
Okay, so 2 weeks from today.
Yes.
2 weeks from
Okay.
tonight.
And then, I just wanted to say that I heard through the grapevine, but no official means from anybody from the township or the council, but through the grapevine, I heard that the trail was scrapped, that's now not going to happen. Is that true?
We haven't actually made any kind of a decision. I still haven't seen the plan from the engineers.
Yeah.
Okay. When that is done, has
Yeah.
anything changed about that? Is there still just going to be a letter going out to all those residents that were here? How is that moving forward?
If we would have a meeting, we would send a letter to all the residents in the area, yes. Yes. If we would when we would do a public meeting on it, yes.
Okay.
If we would do one, right?
Yeah.
If we, that's now an
It
if
depends,
we would-
well, it depends
Well,
on
if we
yeah.
do decide that we're going to move forward with it, or we think that there's a possibility, we'll do the public hearing. If we do
Yeah.
decide to scrap it, then there really wouldn't be a need
Yeah.
for.
We'll
that.
let you
There
know.
be some way that those of us who were very concerned about that will find out?
I have your email. You
My
will get an email.
but there were lots of people there, so.
Were the email addresses in the petition that you gave us, or was that just addresses?
I think most of them were in there, however, there were a lot of people there that did not sign the petition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So some of them might have been at the meeting that put it in your record back there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well,
So in
we will reach out to as
either
many
way,
people. Yeah.
those people
yeah.
will be notified.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else for citizens' agenda matters? All right, the next item on the agenda is the Seven Brew conditional use public hearing. We are going to open the public hearing and then continue it until May 13th because the applicant has requested an extension, and so we can't really answer any questions about it. So can I have a motion to open the Seven Brew conditional use public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Blackburn?
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. And as I said, the applicant has requested an extension, so we would now like to continue the public hearing until the May 13th meeting. Can I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Remind me who the applicant is?
Seven.
So
Seven Brew.
Seven.
they requested it.
Mhm.
Okay. Favor.
Ms. Blackburn?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. All right, and as we actually have already mentioned, the zoning ordinance saldo update, the public hearing for that will be continued until 2 weeks from tonight on the April 22nd meeting. Any other business?
None.
All right, then we will adjourn that portion of the agenda and move directly into our agenda meeting. So, item A, please.
Yeah, the first item before you is a memorandum of understanding with the school district. They had approached us several months ago. Dr. Rebecca Cunningham approached myself regarding using the community center as a facility for sheltering and reunification during an incident. during a potential incident at the high school. I mean, bear in mind when I say incident, that could mean a number of things. That could mean a water break. It could mean, a gas leak. It could mean a fire or anything like that. The school district currently has 2 other sheltering and reunification facilities for the high school, but one of them is outdoors, meaning that certain times of the year it's not an ideal location. And they had approached us about using the community center as a third option for them. Carl Good, our school resource officer, and Al Cohen, the code enforcement officer and fire marshal, have been working closely with Dr. Cunningham and the school district to identify plans in the facility proper, like where the students would go in the case of using it as reunification. We were going to try to do a pre-planned event there in the next month. Unfortunately, just given the way school district calendars are and the way weather is this time of year, it's probably not ideal. And we're going to do a pre-planned event in the fall. The agreement's been reviewed by GTN, and it's recommended for approval.
Anyone have any questions?
How many kids are they looking to put in the community center?
Oh God, it was JR and Melanie. You were both there. What is it?
However many are at the high
It's
school.
nine. It's 9 through 12. So it's what was it? Was it 1,300 something like that?
No, it's probably like 900 kids.
Yeah,
With staff and everybody?
with staff. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, with the faculty too.
Probably like 1,000 people
Yeah.
plus staff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the gymnasium is fairly large, but yeah,
I'm
it's,
sure GTN and the fire marshal and everybody took a look and made sure they all
Yeah.
did it, so.
yeah.
Just curious, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? All right. Item.
What's reunification?
To be when parents come to get them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's an extreme event, that's their meet-out place.
Mm-hmm. And we did talk about potential egress from the facility and how kids will be picked up there too. So
Just the high school or the middle school too?
just the high school. The middle school has some other ones.
Yeah, it's a good walk. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for item A?
No.
Item B then, please.
The Environmental Advisory Committee had actually recommended that the township pursue Birdtown, Pennsylvania certification. The program's a partnership between municipalities and several environmental organizations, most notably the Audubon Society. The goal is to create healthy, more sustainable environment for birds, wildlife, people. It offers different levels of certification based on educational programs that the municipality can offer that actually are offered through the Birdtown program, and you just kind of pass them on to your residents, and environmental initiatives undertaken by communities. There's also, it gets you access to a bunch of social media forums where you can talk about the programs you're doing and what other communities are doing. Richland and McCandless recently joined this program. It's pretty simple. You really just adopt a resolution and fill out an application. So yeah, the EAC has made a formal recommendation that council join it. There's no downside to it, in my opinion. So, yes.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Among all of the suggested actions is a mandatory action that we form a Birdtown committee.
Mm-hmm.
That committee members attend workshops, presentations, etc. Do we have people interested?
I think that's the Environmental Advisory Committee.
Okay.
I think that is,
Al Early.
it already exists. Yeah, Al Whirling.
Al does
That's
the
true,
bird
Al
count
does the bird
every-
count.
Yeah.
Every year.
Is there a reason what's the benefit of doing it?
There's no downside.
I really
I
like the
think
idea.
it's,
That means the con column is empty.
Yes.
Is the pro column also empty?
I see it as optics, Hampton,
It-
Intercommunity,
yeah.
also Birdtown community, it's a marketing slug.
I think a lot of it is trying to just get more, the more communities join it, the more communities become aware of it. The idea that, you get this idea of these programs out there. I mean, I would say, I think there's things we're doing already. I mean, you see all the bird boxes in the community park. The floodplain restoration that we're doing down at the treatment plant with Jim, we're using a meadow mix that's going to attract a lot of pollinators. I think there are actions we're taking already.
Avenue for community engagement is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. It's really about, I think, more connecting residents in the community with the program as much as anything.
It doesn't restrict us from any grants
No.
or any worm grants or anything like that.
No, but I can tell you if we pursue
Did
certain.
you say worm?
Yeah. Does the birds eat worms?
No, we're not
They also eat bugs, which is
Yeah.
a good thing.
But I think, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but
He's here all night.
yeah,
I'll be quiet.
you're fine.
We do have the one full moon that is called a worm moon, which has always been kind of disturbing.
I mean, seriously, it doesn't in no way affect us.
No, and
So
I can tell you, I mean,
Why
it's
not?
it's sort of like sustainable certification that you go for. It is something you would cite in grant applications. So,
And there definitely has been some interest in some of the nature programs that we've been doing up at the community center recently, like the owl prowl and the fungi foray.
Yes.
Was it the other one? So. Right. Anyone else have anything about that particular item? Back to where it was. All right.
Yeah.
How about item C then?
so item C is very similar to item B in that there's no downside to joining it at all, or opting into this at all. The CDBG the Community Development Block Grant Program does 3-year increments where communities have to opt into it. As a practical matter, Hampton doesn't get any CDBG funding. We do not have any census tracts in the township that are below the income standards to actually utilize CDBG or receive CDBG funding. So it's administered through the COG, and we never get that. We never really get those funds. But however, the one thing I would say is by opting in, it does make our residents eligible for the Allegheny County Home Loan Improvement. It's a low-interest loan program for upgrades, as well as the mortgage assistance through the home program as well. In addition to that, while the township is not eligible to get CDBG funds, it will make nonprofits that cater to the elderly or those who are in poverty within the township eligible for CDBG funds. So, again, there is benefit to it. It's indirect to the municipality, but I would recommend opting into the CDBG program for years 2027 through 2029.
Benefit to the residents.
Yes,
Potentially, some of them.
potentially.
Why 27 to 29? I'm just gonna rattle off a couple. Why 27 to 29? Is this a brand new program? If it's not, why weren't we doing it before?
We were doing it
Yeah.
before. It's
Okay.
not a brand new program, and it's
re-upping.
renewed every 3 years.
I'm good.
Yeah, we just never.
That was it.
Well,
Perfect.
let me put it this way: if we start qualifying to get the funds through the program, that's when you'll know it's not. Yeah. So. Yeah.
All right, any other questions on item C? All right, let's go to item D, which
Yeah.
I know there'll be some questions.
Oh, I'm sure there will. And just to be clear, we just opened up bids at 2:00 today, so the answers I have for you, especially given some of the other things we'll be discussing tonight, are not as prominent. We did open bids for our garbage collection. It was a 5-year contract with an optional second 5 years. I did not promise a lower price. I promised competition, and we did get competition. 3 firms submitted bids: Vogel Disposal, Waste Management, who's our incumbent hauler, and County Hauling, which is Noble Environmental. Our current monthly rate for residents, the base rate's $39.51 a month. Waste Management, when we opted out, had offered to give us that rate as next year. The apparent low bid, and I say apparent because I can't say they're the lowest responsible yet, I haven't done background, was Vogel Disposal. Their monthly cost is $30.35 a month. So you're looking potentially at a $9 per month decrease in garbage rates next year. And the,
5%.
yes, it's over $100 a
But
year
we
per
should read
resident.
into that to your point that you haven't really,
No.
You just got it.
Yes, I trust me, there was some entertaining things that came out of this garbage bid. The fact that Waste Management said, we'll freeze your rate, and then they subsequently bid $3 less than what our rate is this year was just, yeah, yeah.
And some of the other municipalities in the COG do use Vogel, and I don't think I've heard anything bad spoken about them.
Yeah, their reputation, I mean, they have Pine, they have Marshall, they have Richland. I'm sure there's other communities out there. They have a good, I just have to make sure that they you know, Susan was at that bid opening. I took the guy from Vogel aside and I said, you understand, you bid significantly lower than everyone else. You know what you were bidding on, right? And they did ask a lot of questions throughout the bid process. I was in communication with them as much as any other hauler. So I think that, you know, I'd like to think they're aware, but, yeah, that's what,
You wanna make sure it's apples to apples.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't want a hauler who gets awarded this and this is, well, I didn't know I have to do this or that or this. It's just gonna be a pain. But I mean, I would say the one thing about their proposal, we bid it in two different base bids. Base bid 1 was sort of a pay-as-you-throw program for bulk, whereas base bid 2 was similar to what we do now, where it's one large bulk item per month. That price I gave you was from base bid 2. But just to give you some idea, under the bid structure, our base bid with Vogel would not go above our current rate of $39. We wouldn't be back above that until 2034.
But you said Waste Management bid $3 less, so did they bid?
They bid,
$36?
they bid $36.
They did, okay.
Yeah, a month, starting next year. I mean, I'll be giving you total bid prices when I actually make a recommendation on this. We have 60 days to award the bid. I have, you know, Susan, feel free to chime in. I mean, you know, I don't know what you think.
Said everything. I would agree. Just want to confirm everything we mentioned, but
Yeah.
having a meeting with the bidder next week just to confirm that he understands everything that's in the bid specs.
Yeah. So,
It's a 3-year. how
it's a
many years?
five-year base contract, and then at the end of the 5 years, you have an option for an additional 5 years.
And they put rates in there for the.
And they
additional
did put the
items.
rates in for the additional 5 years, yes. And actually, again, our rate for waste management was supposed to go to $43 next year. We wouldn't hit that rate until 2036 with Vogel, so we'll see. Yes,
But with Vogel, we'd have to switch cans.
Yeah.
yes.
Oof.
Oh, trust me, this is not gonna be a fun one, but
We've already talked about how to approach it with
Yeah.
residents, get out there very early and do as much publicity about it as we can early on, so throughout the process.
yeah,
So good ideas.
yeah.
Not to get too far ahead, but that's an easy sell.
You would think.
Just say 20%. It's like, hey, you
Yeah.
can save 20% on your garbage bill, just delete those ones here and we'll give you brand new ones.
Yeah,
That's
The people who will be upset are the ones who got the
Yeah,
extra
that's true.
bins.
Yeah, good point.
Aye.
Many
yeah.
people in the
Yeah.
township did that.
And just so you know, we did, based on feedback we got from the haulers, because that was one thing in the last contract Waste Management was not happy about, was that one-time cost for the cart. And they had said, and I spoke with another hauler who said, basically, if you're only going to have it as a one-time cost, it will be a very high number, somewhere between, on the low end, I heard 250, on the high end, I heard 350 to 400, if you wanted to purchase that additional cart. So what we did was we put into the base bid, if you want to buy an extra cart, it's a monthly lease, essentially, so that it's less of an impact. And it gives you a lot more discretion. Like, you know, it's one thing if you're buying it at the start of the contract and you're spending $350 knowing you got 5 years of it. But like, if you need it in year 4 of the contract and you're buying it for $350 and you only get it for 2 years,
Yeah.
you're not going to be a happy
Like you and I were
camper.
talking, it's not just about the cart, it's also about the additional waste that you're putting into
Yeah.
it that they have to take away. So it's not just a cart
Yeah.
cost, it's
Yeah.
always also the trash.
Yeah. But I did send you all the bid tabs and I'll have some things worked up for the next meeting, hopefully.
Right. Any other questions regarding the garbage and recycling contract? All right, anything else for administration?
Nothing.
Public safety, please.
I have nothing to add.
All right, thank you. Community services.
Hello. As you all know, we last year applied for the GEDTF grant for a project that we titled Beautification of the Community Park. When we applied for this grant, we did ask for, I believe it was around $120,000 of grant funding to do this project. We were very happy to receive $40,000 for this project. So with the less amount that we did receive. Looking through the items that we had requested for the grant, the item that came closest to $40,000 was replacing all of the picnic benches in the pavilions at the community park. So I am requesting that the bocce court funds for the capital improvement project be transferred so that we could purchase all of the benches for the community park in collaboration with the grant money that we received. This grant does not have a match to it, so it is a good project that we would be able to, pick which one we wanted to do with the money. And the money does need to be used up pretty much this year because our contract does expire February of next year.
So if we don't do the bocce courts this year, will we do them next year?
I would love to do them
Okay.
next year.
Great job on getting money.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much are we moving from bocce to
So there was,
benches?
so the bench total is under 66,000, and then the 40,000 would go for the grant. So we would have to purchase that obviously up front, and then we would be reimbursed the $40,000. And
We're
the
moving 26 from away from bocce. Was that the total we had for bocce?
so we had put in
Just we're taking
20,
some of it.
but we do have other items
don't
that are
have enough.
coming.
Yeah, we're
Under.
taking all from bocce, and then we'll have to
Yeah.
supplement it otherwise.
Or where were we going to put the bocce? Remind me. We don't know yet.
So at this point, we didn't have an exact location. There was a couple different locations in the park. When we did receive the grant and the amount of the grant, and saw, what we needed to purchase additionally, it was almost that we saw money somewhere else that we might need to use this year. So there really has not been much work on the bocce court itself because we knew pretty much in January that we might have to do or suggest to do this.
I have one final question. I know I've looked it up in the past, but for the life of me, I can't remember. What is bocce again?
It's
I've
the-
never played it. I looked it up to figure out what it was, but it's completely gone from my brain.
If I had
It's the
three
little
balls,
Italian men
balls
throwing
that
that you
balls.
roll.
Fun,
Yeah.
it's like you throw the balls.
so we
and
take
you-
like
Your Pittsburgh
different
residence has been
colors.
revoked.
It's lawn bowling.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Lawn bowling?
Oh, that's
All
a good
right,
way to
thank you.
describe it.
Now I
Look
know.
at that, look at that.
There's some pictures of
Nice
it.
job, Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, very
You
nice.
throw one little ball, and then the other people try to get their balls
Try-
as close
Yeah,
as possible.
closest.
Got it, okay.
The
I
little
see, I
balls
looked
like
it,
curling,
I looked it
but
up,
on
and I
grass.
remember
It's
reading
curling
about
on
it, but I couldn't
grass.
remember what it
Yeah.
It's
was.
like a variation
Yeah.
of cornhole, a variation of curling.
Curling,
of-
yeah.
Alrighty, thank you. All right, so,
I mean, I have-
anybody else have any questions?
Yeah. Dude, I'm Italian.
That's what I
Every
need my
Italian
grandfather
has
to
a
play
bocce.
it. I think too
That's
serious
I
in
am
a
not
tournament.
Italian.
It's
Play
called
bocce
baton.
in
All
the
right.
yard growing up.
Yeah.
Now that I've completely derailed the conversation, item B, please.
Yes. Maybe I'm missing.
Oh, who's got item B?
No.
Ah.
I just gotta find all the bolts.
Good evening. This is a request to release capital funds from the capital funds budget for the public works architectural design in the amount of $60,000. Budgeted amount was $75,000. This is a 2-year project, 2026, in the amount of $50,000, and early 2027 in the amount of $46,111. AI gave their proposal on their sheet. You can see their breakdown. I won't go through all that. It's summarized. So this is a continuation from 2025 when we did the facility study for the public works that you saw during strategic planning that we went through. So this will be construction document design phase with that. So the reason why, before any questions, the reason why I have a $10,000 contingency on this is one, the survey and sanitary, as you can see, is billed at 100% in 2026. So I have some questions myself on that, on the sanitary. So that's why that contingency money I have built into this, just in case we need to use that for that. Also, doing a preliminary MEP, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. They have that at 90%. Yes, they have that at 10% in 2026. So that could be a little bit for that. I think we'll have to add some in for contingency for 2027 because, as you see, they're billing that at 90%. That being said, the architectural, there could be potential permit because when this is all done, I think as we get farther into this year, towards the end, we might have some permit things or adjustments that we might have to do. So that could be built into the architectural since they're billing at 74% for this year. And then printing, we'll have probably documents that they'll need to print, the larger scale documents, which isn't much, or that's a few $100 here and there. So that's the breakdown on that.
Anyone have any questions?
Is it fair to say that the total is 96,111 and we have 75 of it budgeted this year?
It's 96,111 it's for both. It's
Yeah.
split this year and next year. So the second phase will go into next year. So we'll budget for next year on the remaining, which right now is, we would budget for $46,111. I will say that's probably gonna be a little bit more depending on, you know, what else is needed on that time. If there are things that we're finding in 26, we could see at that point. I mean, if everything goes well, then that's all we'll be spending is $96,111 if all goes well.
Anyone else have any questions?
No, thank you. Sorry. You were thinking, I just like spaced out there. Thank you.
It has been one of those days.
Yes.
All right, anything else for community services?
I do have one item. Since the beginning of this year, there's been some discussion regarding the museum parking lots. At one of the recent museum meetings, there was some concern raised with the condition of it. So we have taken Gateway engineers down there to take a look at it. And today we met with Shields regarding 2 of our contracts for this year's paving program. As you're aware, the Park Trail paving was awarded last month for $105,000. The budget was $200,000, and so with engineering, we could have around $70,000, $80,000 left this year. I'm waiting for final estimates for the paving to get from Shields, as well as there's a walkway down behind the building that goes into the tavern. So that would be concreted under there. So there's 2 separate concrete estimates that we're getting right now. And Shields is probably going to be coming in within the next 2 to 3 weeks to start both contracts A and B with paving. And then they're going to come back to Alphenwild Road and the one section of the road by Weil and Skull probably around July after school's out. So depending on what the museum events are this year, would really like to get that parking lot paid just so that we can get it out of the way. So I may be coming at the end of this month or in May for a request to redistribute those funds from the remaining Park Trail paving to the museum paving. Okay.
Trusco won the Park Trail, Jerry.
Yes.
That was Trusco.
But we would really like to have Shields do the paving of the parking lot. They'll mill down 3 inches, put binder and a top coat on.
Capital budget's done, and moving money around in the middle drives me crazy.
It's still paving, right? Parking lot trail.
Yeah, but you didn't do the pond
Correct.
because you needed to leave that money available because of a potential increase in the paving cost for the road program. So now you're making other plans for that money that you said, well, we can't do this, but we can do this.
Yeah.
So that's my,
Right now with the asphalt
index, yeah.
index, it doesn't look like it would be that significant of a change. So I understand where you're coming from. Like I said, ideally, it would be nice to get that done this year.
yeah,
So,
doesn't work well in my spreadsheet.
sorry about that.
Anyone else?
Add another tab.
I find cut and paste works real well.
This is depreciation lands museum.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
The whole parking lot or just a portion of
The entire parking lot.
Yeah, but it's not, I mean, it's not even that big, but,
But it's not in great shape.
it's in terrible shape.
When was the last time it was done? Nobody knows.
It's been a very long time.
I mean, I've been going there and doing Girl Scout projects for like 15 years and I've never seen it done.
And they recently added new sidewalks, so they're a little bit higher than the parking lot as well. Don't want anybody to trip. We did get original estimates from Gateway for both the concrete underneath the sidewalk in the back. That was around 25,000. Estimates came in at 13,000, so that's even under. We're just waiting for an updated estimate from Shields for the paving. But originally that came in around 26,000.
I digress, but at one point I know that the DLM was wondering if the township had a little bit of fill dirt to level off the flower beds with the sidewalk. I don't know if they've.
It's.
I'm only there when it's dark.
deeply involved in that.
Oh, thank you, JR. They're a good
You're
crew
welcome.
out there.
We
They're watching
actually
out
got
for
that
it.
all resolved yesterday.
Oh, wonderful, thank you.
So JML's gonna do that work. It's actually gonna get paid from the museum. Talk to Dennis. It was more streamlined, so, they should be doing that starting like next week or the week after. I think the goal was to have it done by May.
Oh, is JLM gonna do like all the work?
Yes. They're gonna-
I'm actually really glad to hear that because they were all talking about how if the township would do some of it, they would do some of it, but I mean, the majority of that board is retired. I was a little concerned about all that heavy lifting, to be honest with you.
Expensive than what I think they were thinking as well.
Yeah, JML came in at like 5,000, so it wasn't bad at all, but it's gonna be graded to where, a mower could, basically ride the sidewalk, so they're gonna really feather it out, grade it.
That's great.
Not only topsoil, but backfill topsoil and then seeding.
$5,000 is not bad, and they have that in their budget, so I think
Yeah,
that's a nice
so
deal for them. Mhm.
Yeah, that'll all be taken
Yeah.
care of, so that'll kind of fix that. I know they're gonna do some rock bedding themselves, and then mulch bedding. We have it all planned, so.
Thank you.
We got that all resolved and set in stone yesterday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thanks. Anything else for community services?
Thank you.
Environmental services?
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing else to add unless there are questions.
Zoning and planning, please. Oh, wait. Did you have a question?
Were we gonna deal with that extra item?
The fascia, you just want me to post a picture of that, the front,
the front of the building.
yeah. It wasn't a change order on the contract, and it was beneath the bid specs, but, it was beneath the bid thresholds. But, yeah, I mean, the front fascia of the, and the gutters, and actually, JR, this is another one you were involved with Bill, so yeah, please rise and return to the,
You're a busy guy, JR.
podium.
You have
if you
no
wanna-
trouble spending money, do you?
Usually that's direction over there.
I like pointing fingers.
Jerry, don't.
Yeah, Jerry, JR, if you want to kind of describe the main entrance to the office building, there was an issue we saw after construction that wasn't accounted for in the spec for the project. Yeah, Jerry, you were really happy when you saw that. I'll share the picture with all of you tomorrow, just so you see it, but.
Yeah, so Jim Deegan brought it to my attention, and before the roof was actually put onto the front entrance, and It's a metal standing seam roof, but there wasn't any gutters, and this is prior to the roof being installed, because he got all the info from the contractor. There's a handicap ramp that comes up, and there's a no gutter system. And really, then, once you see the pictures, you understand, but as I could describe it, the metal roof was put on, and then the fascia, metal fascia, and the wraparound was put on. So really, everything else is just, the front is just wood. It's just plywood that goes around, still no gutter system. And then you have your beams that are all exposed, the steel and the wood beams underneath. So you're looking at this very new, well-built, designed building that looks aesthetically pleasing. But then you have this front entrance that you're just like, who put that on, type of thing. So brought in Dilt's Enterprise and kind of bounced some ideas back and forth. And what they're going to do is just going to drop everything with the same color metal and do a gutter system that wraps around it. It's a significant amount of work, and then soffit underneath. That'll basically close everything in and make it aesthetically pleasing to match the rest of the building. So that's pretty much the extent. Again, when he sends you those pictures tomorrow, you'll understand.
I'll send
Okay.
it to
Very quick to be like, oh wow, okay.
But the cost, it was through Dilts, it was Co-Stars, and it was underneath the bid threshold, so that's why you're not seeing it at the council level. So, yeah. What's up? Okay.
It's just barely underneath the bid threshold.
22.8, the bid threshold is 24,500, I believe. Yes.
Below, slightly below is better than slightly
Yeah.
above.
Yes.
All right, now on to zoning. Unless JR wants to jump up again.
Yeah, you gonna build the 7 brew for them, JR?
Thank you, Madam President. So my items were actually already covered earlier, but we can go through them individually if you guys would like.
I assume in 2 weeks we'll be tabling the 7 brew conditional use application?
Yeah, so, I mean, would you guys rather just kind of go through them all individually, or?
It won't even appear on the agenda in 2 weeks, actually.
All right. Anybody have any questions about it at this time, since we don't have the final plans?
Yeah, we can wait until.
So the conditional use and lot consolidation, and then the final land development, those will all be, provided at the public hearing. As we mentioned earlier, the applicant, 7 Brew, has asked for an extension on that, so we're good on that. And
Alrighty
then we have the zoning ordinance in the East Saldo. Similarly, we will be
Continuing the public hearing in 2 weeks.
exactly.
Yes. And ideally, I'm ideally considering this for adoption after the public hearing. I would say that.
So the vote would be next in 2
In
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Then you don't have to re-advertise.
Yeah. All right, anything else for zoning and planning?
No, I just-
Oh, sorry.
For the vote next go around.
Yeah.
That's we have to do that in a time frame, right? That's.
Yeah. Once, go ahead.
Or you'd have to re-advertise.
Okay, so we're time constrained.
Within your time, yes.
And I would strongly, I mean, I know I've said it before, I'm going to strongly recommend it. Given some of the plans we have out there, and given the protections of the new ordinance, I'm going to strongly recommend that the zoning ordinance in Saldo get adopted next week, or in 2 weeks.
But we
Sorry.
will still
Oh,
have
of
the
course.
option to table
Public
it
will-
in
yes,
case
yes.
there is
Yes.
another 3.5-hour meeting.
Have you received any emails or inquiries since the last meeting? Like,
No.
what might some of the residents be concerned about in this ordinance?
The only thing I can think of is sort of the changes to the Route 8 corridor, but I would be kind of surprised at that, to be honest with you, because all I've heard is you have to do something about Route 8, you have to do something about Route 8, and it's like, well, we're giving you an option of doing something about it here, and so,
Okay.
I think that's the only thing. I'm sure there'll be some objections on vape shops and data centers, but the reality is, our ability to regulate those things is minimal.
Best we can do is define them.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating there's probably going to be some questions just regard to, again, site clearances, like last time, and that, but our office hasn't received any sort of questions or anything though too.
For like sightlines and things,
Sightlines, yeah.
That's all dictated by.
Yeah, I think that
Like-
there was, at the last meeting, I think that there was some confusion because of the fact that we're reducing the setbacks. I think some members of the public were maybe under the impression that this was gonna turn into, like downtown Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah.
So, we can address those concerns as they arise.
And some of the legalese in these documents, when it's 10 feet from the setback isn't the edge of the road.
Exactly, and that's something.
I would admit the
You're 10
first time
feet
that I read
plus
it,
10
I
feet.
thought
Yeah.
exactly what
Right,
some of the
yeah,
residents
yeah.
thought. Okay, so the sidewalk is gonna be 5 feet from the road, that's awful. I did not consider the right of way either.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're 20 feet, 25 feet back.
Yeah.
Yeah. To your point, it's much like the new bank. building.
Yeah, honestly, First National is pretty much in Maud Wash too. If you look
Right,
at
right,
them, their
right.
sidewalk is probably 15 feet back from curb quarterly.
Exactly. I would also just like to add that for any resident that needs to have access to the new proposed saldo and zoning ordinance, that our office does have paper copies, and so residents can always feel free to come in at any point and view that information, like during our regular office hours, and we'll gladly provide that for you.
Is it available, I assume, online too?
Yeah, everything's been available
Yeah.
online, and I just know that one of the concerns that was raised at the last meeting was that some people do not have internet access. So we'll, like our office, we have paper copies, so we can't, without a formal right to know request, give those actually out to people, but people can feel free to come in during office hours, and they can sit in here and they can view it as long as they want to for hours, really. Just during our regular office hours, and just kind of like a library, so they can just kind of come in and sit and view the zoning ordinance and the saldo as much as they'd like.
Not exactly
It is
my
good
choice
reading.
of library reading.
Yeah,
It's a great plot.
exactly. So,
Character development.
There was also a concern at the last one, which I thought was adequately addressed, but I kind of anticipate if folks show up in a couple of weeks, they may ask again. There was a concern that it wasn't communicated, that they weren't aware of this until like that meeting. I'm hard pressed to understand that, because I do feel as though it's been discussed multiple times in the late fall. And prior, but that, I do think that that's gonna be a issue that is once again brought up.
I think unfortunately, I believe a large portion of the population doesn't read the agenda for our meetings, which makes them surprised when something like this comes up. They were only there for their main reason to come on the trail. So this was kind of I think a surprise to them, because they didn't read the agenda or the past ones, and were there for the trail. And then that, with that presentation from Saldo, kind of made everything, they thought they were the same thing, right?
Yes,
So
there-
it kind
there
of
was
make everything
definitely
sort of
confusion.
confusing, and they didn't have a time to process any of that because they didn't know about it until the hearing, though. If any of them are on Facebook, obviously our agenda is out there well in advance. It's on our website well in advance.
I do want to point out there have been articles about this update,
Yeah.
including one in the
There was
Hampton
one- there
Magazine
were
that
two-
goes
there
to
were-
every household.
Yeah.
Do we have a timeline of community outreach? Because we did things in the park.
We did
like,
things at Pints in the Park. I think we
We've
had
announced
a
it,
community day.
Like, we've
I think
done
there
an
was
awful lot to get the message out
I think there was also something to Trib as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if we can just have a quick timeline when somebody
That's
says,
fine.
He put one
That's
in
a
the
good idea.
slideshow, I'm pretty sure the
Yeah.
consultant did, I can't remember his
Yeah.
name, I'm sorry.
We'll
but
have-
There
we'll
was
have
something in his slideshow that had a nice kind of timeline.
yeah,
Yeah.
We will have something as well. I
Okay.
mean, I'll make sure to have, but I mean, there were two articles in the magazine. There was one last year saying, hey, we're doing this, and then there was another one. The most recent magazine article was, come to the community center on March 25th for a public hearing on the new zoning ordinance itself.
Yeah.
And that goes to every single resident and business in the township. So, yeah.
Right. Anything else about the zoning?
Water, but you can't make them drink.
Oh my God, I just said that to myself inside my head, but I didn't want to call the residents a horse.
And he's facing an election next year.
All right, any other
Jerry, like
questions
this.
related to the zoning ordinance or our Saldo update? All right,
I
anything
heard-
else?
Do we know, talking about Route 8 corridor, did KFC close?
Yes.
Oh my God,
Oh, yeah,
yes.
it's gone.
No, it's not just us though. KFCs across the region have been closing. Yeah, they. I think one in I think it was McKeesport closed as well. I don't know if they're just having like just financial difficulties with their franchises or something like that. I read somewhere that it was that.
The
but-
competition is fierce out there between Popeyes and Raising Cane's.
Exactly,
Like,
so-
and Chick-fil-A. What are you
And
gonna
Chick-fil-A
do?
too. So.
Well,
But they do have the
they even
best
took their-
coleslaw.
They even took the paint off the wall.
Yeah.
Like,
I
they
mean,
took all the branding, all of
yeah.
it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out
They're
right
gone,
now.
the signs are
they closed
down, there's nothing to really identify it.
Opportunity for something.
Yes.
Especially with the potential new zoning code.
Yes.
So.
right.
Fingers
Sorry to be
crossed.
real.
No worries. Anything else for zoning and
You know, there
planning?
used to be a putt-putt course there.
Huh? Really?
Miniature golf.
Oh, really? I miss putt-putt.
Well, it
I
wasn't
like-
putt-putt, it was miniature golf, it wasn't quote.
Well, there used to be, like, I grew up in Erie, and there was called putt-putt. Yeah.
Aaron, anything else?
Nothing further.
Maybe there's a lot
Thank you, Eric.
All right, other business, please.
Just the biggest thing, community cleanup day is next Saturday, be at the community center at 8 a.m. Hopefully it's not raining like it was last year.
Barely rained last year.
Are we signing, is there sign-ups for that, or just show up?
If you could sign up, that would be wonderful.
Sign up.
Susan would like to know if she needs to expect you.
Okay.
This Saturday, next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. This Saturday is Alon, next
10 days.
Saturday is cleanup day. Thank you for that.
Oh, crap.
All right, on other things coming up, we have Pints in the Park starting up again soon. Also a wonderful event, Touch a Truck, and of course the pool season. Anything else?
We just have to have a brief executive session on a personnel and real estate matters.
All right. Does anyone else have any other business? All right, then I will adjourn to an executive session where we will be discussing legal and personnel matters. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening.